going down. You can see it sitting. It's windy, but it's beautiful. Here's our mountain views. Can't even see the mountaintops over there, but in them clouds is Mount Patterson. We might have got some snow up in the mountains. Okay, so next you're going to be taking this off. And what we found is easiest is take this screw out of this, and then this thing will slide off and you'll disconnect it. And then you'll be able to pull this back, pivot it, and it'll slide through. That shaft will slide through that slot. But before you do that, you'll also, there's a pin on each end. If you take a small screwdriver like this and you stick it in there, you'll be able to push it, push this one all the way in and this one all the way in, and you'll be able to get that hinge off. Then you just got to work that out and we get this off. Before we do that, you'll have to take this insert here off. You'll see there's 2 pins on both sides. There's no screws holding this one on. And then there's a clip right here. So this clip and that piece back there, that clip goes in there, and then the rest slides in the back here. Sorry, back there. And then, but the main one that holds it in is that one. It just pops in. Okay, the next you're going to want to remove your glove box and this frame that it attaches to. So instead of just removing the door, we removed, we'll take this screw out, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, come over here, take this one out, and the whole glove box will come out. Okay, so you're gonna wanna pull your 2 A-pillars off. Pop that little cover off here and remove that bolt, and then slide it up and back, and that'll remove that. Okay, you're gonna want to take this screw out and this screw. That'll take this little plastic shelf off so it doesn't get broken. This is where the upper glove box sits into. So yeah, there's your, you have one on that side, this one, and then one on the inside of the vent right there. And then that'll allow you to lift your dash off. You also have 1 screw up on top and 2 wire connectors. The one on the smaller one is for your daytime your lights. It's the one that detects how dark it is outside, and the other one is for something else. Can't remember, I have to look. You're going to remove the dash. You're going to need to remove this here, these 2 here. That's bottom of your airbag. You're going to want to disconnect here. There's a ground, and on there's a connector that goes in the side of the airbag. Make sure your battery's unplugged, hopefully long before you start it. There's a connector like that on both ends of the airbag. Then you're going to take this one off, that one off, and then there's a couple more on the driver's side that we got to take off. One back there, you can see it, kind of. And then, was there 1 or 2 on the other side? There should be another one like this on the end, on the driver's side
2,
back there.
And 1 inside the vent.
And 1 inside the vent. Okay, there's a clamp you'll need to take out. See it right down there. I just used a long Phillips screwdriver. Feed it between your 2 ducts, and you'll be able to get it out, just like that. Can't do it one-handed, so we'll be able to hold the camera. That's what we're doing. Take that out. What we're gonna do is we're gonna remove all these bolts. You see here, we already got the 2 down here. And then we're taking this one out. That gives us just a couple more inches of room to pull that back so we can help maneuver them pipes in and out. Okay, so you're gonna wanna, we removed this actuator here. There's 3 screws that hold it on. It's right above where the glove box would be. You can see it actually directs the air. Think interior, exterior, so if you want to recirculate the air inside. But take that 3 screws out there, and that actuator sure will come out and give you a little bit more room, not a lot, but. All right, so miraculously, after about an hour of finagling, we got the first pipe in. This is the upper pipe to the heater core. It sits inward towards the driver's side. So now we're trying to do the second pipe, which goes to the bottom of the heater core to the right side, coming out of the passenger side, coming out of the firewall into the engine compartment. As you can see, there's no logical way to do this. Our goal is just not to bend the pipe, tweak the pipe, or damage it. But it is, it's kind of ridiculous. But my son's good at solving puzzles, so this is right up his alley. What's wrong, kid? Giving up?
Almost had it.
Sure. That's what everybody says.
Let's put the other direction of the hole.
Just slides down there so easy. You'd think it'd be that simple. Maybe I can try to help pull back. Yeah. Oh man!
Much easier than the other one.
So the top one's a hard one. Let me come around and I'll get you a video of that. So these aren't permanently attached yet. Well, those are your 2 pipes. See how they go up. Let's see if I can get a view of where they go out. That's where you got to wrap them around. So if we come out to the engine compartment, we should see the 2 new pipes sticking out in the back here, right there. So we got new hoses, we're gonna attach to those. There's a cover plate that goes on there. It's got a rubber grommets. It's right there. And that's what seals the firewall up. But there's a lot more things to put together inside. Okay, so we made sure the O-rings were installed, and then we attach these pipes in there. They slip in there nice and straight, and then bend the aluminum back down the way it was delivered to us. It's nice and sturdy, no movement. Now we'll start putting everything back together slowly but surely. So we just reassembled the dash in reverse order, and it does go back together a lot quicker. Okay, so I'm going to try to do this in the wind. I might have to voice over it, but unfortunately we have to work on this thing outside the shop, so we're in the wind. But we got the rear heater core pulled out, verified it was not plugged. They sent us the wrong one anyways, so I shipped it back. We found the section of piping from the heater core back to be plugged. We put some vinegar in it, hoping to free it up. One side freed up, the other started leaking. So this is where your spare tire goes. Over here is the passenger side where the heater core would go up, right, following those hoses or those pipes. You have refrigerant, for your air conditioner and the coolant for your heater hose. These two on the right are for your heater. This is for your air conditioning. So it goes over there and then goes up the floorboard into your heater core. This is the section that was plugged. After we put some fluid in there, we started getting a leak over here. I traced it back, and you can see this bulge right in there. So the pipe actually split open and is cracked right there. So we're waiting on that part. Should be here in a week or so. They replaced this as a set. There's 3 sections to this one. The engine all the way back. You have the back section that goes across. Then you have another section right here that are tied into it. This goes up over the passenger side rear wheel and then down and ties into the next section that goes along the floorboard into the engine to the firewall. So we gonna replace this. We did go through these fittings here, and one of them was plugged. We used some baling wire, fished it through, and both of them are dislodged now. So this hose, when I came under here, was actually slid over, and it wasn't even on that side. So we said, okay, that's the leak, but that was just one of the many leaks. So we're trying to locate some new spring clamps. These are pretty old. You can't buy these rubber hoses by themselves, and it's an oddball size, so I'm having trouble finding anybody that stocks it. But we're gonna at least try to get some new spring clamps to put on there, since these things are 16 years old. And if the hoses leak after that, we'll find some new hoses once it gets on there though. But that's what we're doing so far. That's the update. Alright, we're getting ready to replace the oil cooler. Right down there, we pulled the oil filter off. Got a bucket under there to catch oil. To do this, you're going to need a 17 millimeter Allen head type socket. So that's ours, and that'll go right where the center of the spot where the oil filter would thread onto. This will fit right in and should come right off. Might be able to pull the ratchet off and then just use it. You might be able to grab it here. I'll take the ratchet, see if you can just spin it. Okay. A little slick. Have to make sure that O-ring comes off. This will be probably the easiest thing we do today. See that? That's what the filter threads on. That's where your number 17 Allen wrench will thread into. And we'll try to break it loose. Carefully. You just don't want to bind it. Yeah, it doesn't do it anymore. Just kind of work it back and forth. Just tap it with a rubber mallet. And it's pretty tight. You dropped it! So we'll just, is it draining? No? So we'll pull that off and just see if the O-ring came off with it.
Came on, yeah.
Yep, so the other side. There's your O-ring. There we go. That's it. Good oil, isn't it? So that's the part that broke off. the other coolant line. Can't really see down here very well, but it's like all the other coolers on here. That's how I plugged. Yeah. So we'll get the new one out. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so we got the new one on. Goes on real simple. There's a notch on the cooler itself that kind of clocks it in the position that it needs to be. Let's see if I can see it on the old one. So this is what I felt, this little divot here, and then there's also one here, but this is the one I felt to be pretty tight. Once it sat on there, it was obvious that it was in the right spot. So yeah, that was really simple to change it out. So now we're gonna throw the filter back on. The filter's only got probably 300 miles on it, if that. So new filter, new oil. So we're gonna keep it in there and drive it till the next interval. Okay, now we got the oil cooler replaced. We're gonna go ahead and remove the intake. We got to replace this whole housing. This is the bottom part of the housing that came in our full assembly, and there's 4 bolts. You can see those, but it's just tough to get to. I'm sure if you really wanted to figure out a way, but because this one was getting a lean mixture, and this hose here goes underneath there, we're just gonna go ahead and pull the intake. We have new gaskets, so we know we can reseal the intake, do a good inspection. We got a new throttle body gasket, new intake gaskets, and new hoses. So we're gonna pull the intake, replace this housing, replace this hose, put the intake on with the new gaskets, and then work our way out. See how much we can get done before the sun goes down. Give you a little glimpse of our skies here. Yesterday it was stormy. Here's what we got today. To see Mount Patterson. Couldn't see that before. But we're hoping to drive this Land Rover up to the top of that this summer. Over there is Yosemite. All right, so we pulled the section that was between the throttle body and the intake. You just take these 2 bolts out of the EGR pipe, and then you got 4 bolts here. We put WD-40 on those before we got started taking them out, but it came out pretty easy. Now we're gonna work on taking this. Took this bracket off here. Oh, you got 2 more down here, Ken.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right here. So we'll finish taking this bracket off, and then we'll take this off. So now we got the intake off. Kind of see what we got here. We put a paper towel on each cylinder. So this is that one hose that goes underneath the intake, circles back and goes down to the base where the thermostat housing bolts up to. So we have the new one here. It's got their little Land Rover's bleeder valve. But yeah, that's we're gonna change that out, and we were gonna change the thermostat housing, but we might want to wait until we put the intake back on, like my son said. But it kind of sticks out this way.
Yeah, but what about this part?
What's right there?
Oh, you have to put EGR on and the throttle body, right? So if you put this right about here, it might get it hard to get to the screws.
Okay.
So you can put the new one
All right,
on.
see, my son's he's thinking ahead, so. Looks like because the sun's going down, probably just gonna change this hose out. And all right, so we're putting the thermostat housing assembly on. We might have to, when we go to put the intake on, we might have to take it off. All we're doing is putting the 4 bolts here. And all we gotta do is pop this yellow clip off, and this whole assembly will come out front. Give us more access to put everything on there, but that's what came with it. So it comes with a new thermostat housing and thermostat built in, a new temperature sensor. So I think we got a lot of good stuff here. We got the new hose that goes underneath. So we'll clean up the intake. I'll get my air compressor and we'll blow this out probably. And then we'll clean up the intake, get a new gaskets for that, and then start putting that back together. Hopefully it won't take too long to find a gasket. But just another sunset. So We'll probably be closing up. There's the mountain, sunset behind the mountains, shining on them. Mount Patterson over there.